This is Bobby Hitz, and I'm chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Bobby Hitz. Chicago are like completely different places.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Listen, I was in a restaurant here in Chicago, and there was very strong New York guys in there, and I saw them in there, and they're very nice, very gentlemanly, and I don't know. I'm going back years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the approach is in two different things. I had a very good friend who just recently passed away a year or so ago from COVID, actually. But
Frank,
he did
right?
time, and
Coconetti? Frank?
who?
Are you talking about Frank?
No.
Frank Coconetti?
This guy was a New Jersey guy, and he was an East Coast guy, but he was my dear friend, and he was a man's man as far as I'm concerned. This guy was. He did about 30 years, and he was a real guy, and I love this guy. He was my good friend, and
a lot of guys come out to Chicago from New York.
I think so. I think so. I think a lot of guys, Chicago's not. New York's a great place. New York has great restaurants and great atmosphere, and it's a city that never sleeps. So I think that there's always relationships with people. I would assume. I know down in Florida, there's Chicago guys on there. People meet all kinds of people in cigar bars and different things, and just form good relationships. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
that's what life's all about, having relationships with guys.
Yeah. Shout out to Stevie Bullets and all them over there in Chicago.
Stevie's great. Yeah.
His documentary is picking up steam. I see him writing articles about him, saying, is he still in the life and all this?
Yeah.
I think they're throwing a little bit of shade at Stevie.
Yeah, he's a teamster. That's all I know. He's a hardworking guy. Works hard.
Family man.
Yep, hardworking guy. Good man.
Yeah, definitely. So can you walk me through what happened with you and Don King?
He tried to fuck me, and it was well chronicled that he was trying to fuck me, and I wasn't going to let him fuck me. And it was well noted in the media here how him and I were going to do something, and in the end, he tried to fuck me. And
so what? He's like, "Come on, Bobby, I'm like,
yeah,
like he used to do with people, right?
Yeah, like let's do something. Yeah, just to me, like I have no love lost for the guy. He's old and whatever. He was a great promoter, great thing, but he doesn't have the reputation he has because he didn't earn it. You know what I mean? And I was a young promoter, hardworking guy, making my way in life, and I had something that he wanted, which was a fighter, and I had Chicago pretty much locked down, and he was bringing a fight to Memphis, Tennessee, and I said, "You're ridiculous. You got to bring that fight to Chicago. We'll draw X amount of people." And his right hand guy gave me marching orders to go do this, go secure that, go do this. I did everything they told me to do, and then I secured the date, even because he was not licensed here and I was, and then he totally went around me and cut me out of the deal. After I kind of structured the whole thing. So he would never get a second chance to fuck me again, never.
Yeah, I got remember when I was going out to Chicago and I went out there to DJ an event?
Yeah.
I got screwed too. They didn't pay me my money.
Who did?
That's why these people. I'll tell you when we get off the screen.
But
promoters.
It was asked of me. It was asked of me if they wanted them to go have a little conversation, and I said no. I kept everybody out. It was my problem, and I dealt with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't want to put anybody else into that situation.
So you put on a lot of events. When
Yeah,
did you
I
start
do. Yeah,
getting into the promotion and all that type of stuff?
about 30 years ago, when I retired from boxing, from fighting.
You wanted to just keep going with it, right?
Well, I was actually I was embarking on making my own comeback, and then all the guys in the gym, nobody had a fight, and I had garnered a lot of experience when I left Chicago and went to Detroit and really learned the business of boxing. I got my Harvard education, so it was asked by me from my trainer, "Why don't you start putting shows on?" I said, "Okay, fine." So I gave up my dreams of making a comeback to be able to put shows on, so these guys had fights, and I never looked back. You know.
I know how hard it can be to put on an event. How
Oh
was
yeah.
it? You had a lot of success and a lot of failures during your time in the promotion
Listen,
world.
it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know. But recently, my biggest failures have been some of the fighters that you deal with and the talent. It's different. The whole landscape has changed in the way the fighters approach the business, and it's not the same anymore. It's really different, and the athlete is different, and um, it's the uh, it's the entitled it's the entitled mentality of just the modern person that's crept into boxing. You know, it's
What's the
kind of sad.
difference between back then and now? What's the difference?
Well, back then there was a lot of respect. There was um, everybody kind of knew their place. Nobody disrespected a guy who had fighters. Like, and if you tried to steal somebody's fighters, you got to hear about it in a nice way. Um,
Yeah.
and nowadays, with the inception of the internet, these guys will go directly to your fighters, try to steal your guys, try to make deals with your guys, and you have them under contract. So you're constantly fighting for your position over something that you own, which is their exclusive rights. Imagine this. Imagine Robert Sala, right? Going and trying to get Baker Mayfield, calling up Baker. Hey, Baker, come and play for us. Like, you can't do that, right?
Yeah.
In the
No.
NFL. But in boxing, it's like it's still the wild, wild west. And these guys operate the way they think. If they have a pinky ring and a gold watch on it, makes them a manager or makes them something. And they'll constantly try to steal your fighters, and so you're constantly fighting for your position. And I knew I had arrived in boxing when I ended up in federal court having to sue somebody for stealing my talent. And to me, that wasn't worth it. To me, it's like, this is, I don't like it. And I was at the top of my game, had the number one contender. Next fight was for the world title, and I'm in federal court suing to protect my rights. Like, to me, I didn't sign up for that. I'm not cut from that cloth, and that was a really tough deal for me to endure, because I'd rather, let's go out in the alley, let me bust your fucking head, and if you win, then you can have my guy. If you don't, leave him the fuck alone. Like, I'd rather settle it that way. You have to go
Especially if
the
he's
legal way.
under contract, they shouldn't be
Right,
violating
right.
your contract. This should be straightforward, pretty much.
Well, what people underestimate is the ability of somebody to exercise their legal rights, and which I will always do that in the sport of boxing. And it's unfortunate you have to do that, you
Yeah.
know. And I don't. That's the part about the business I don't like. But I guess I'm an old school guy. My handshake means something. My word means even more. And to me, I don't understand that mentality. I get calls all day long from fighters, and I ask them two questions: do you have a manager? If they say yes, I'll say, give me their phone number. If they say no, I'll say, do you have a promoter? If they say yes, give me their phone number. Hey, thanks for calling. I can't talk to you. Let me call your people. But nobody does it anymore. They just
Yeah,
go
because
right to
they'll
the
go
fighter.
straight to the source, right?
Right, right. And it's just not protocols. There's just protocols. There's protocols in life. And I think if people would take more time to exercise the protocols and be respectful of a man's hard work and whatever, the world would be a better place. I'm a big believer in paying it forward. I'm a big believer in, if I'm in the coffee shop, I'll just pick out somebody, give me their check. Like, to me, you try to spread it around. You try to be a good person in life. And hopefully something good will happen for you. But I got to tell you, I've had to fight for my position more as a business person than I ever did as a fighter. It's the craziest thing ever, and it's kind of a sad commentary on human beings. It's a sad commentary. And if
World is
this
changing.
and had it been in the 70s or 80s, none of this would have ever happened. Trust me, nothing like
No,
that would ever happen. Hell
no.
no, not even close. There was a level of respect that was exercised always.
I know that's right.
Yeah.
So your promotion, what type of things do you got going on now? And is there any situations during your promotion career that really stand out in your mind?
It's all kind of a blur to me because 30 years has gone by quick. I've gotten to work with some really great people. I've made some really great friends in Providence, Rhode Island, my guy Jimmy Birchfield, my guy in South Philly, Artie Palullo, some really good guys in the business, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, Out west, there's some good guys, Rango Break. There's some good promoters in the business. Then you got the bad ones. You just stay away from them. To me, I just stay away from anybody who's bad. If you're a bad person, I just stay away from you. I don't do business with you. And even in my lawsuit, when I was winning the lawsuit, and the other side wanted to make a deal with me, saying, well, why don't we just be partners? We'll pay you some money and we'll be partners. And my lawyer told them, they said, listen, you don't know my client very well. You stole from him. He will never do business with you ever. I never did business with these people ever again. Never.
I mean that's pretty crazy. They bite your hand and then they want to still do business with you.
But see, because boxing's full of guys that'll just are moment guys. They're not long term guys. When I started promoting, I was doing it for the long term. I wasn't just doing it one show at a time. I had a plan. Most guys in my business, they don't know where their next meal's coming from. So it's different. My approach is different.
Yeah, they're like, I want to throw this event and fill my pockets up with money. That's all they're thinking.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
being on the Little Rascals when they used to go, let's have a show. You know what I mean? And then you'd have a little show with the R gang. You know what I mean? Like, give me a break. I put a lot of hard work into my events. I do a very nice show. I pull out all the stops. I'm probably one of the only, probably a handful of successful club promoters in the whole country, and I'm one of them. Myself, Rango Brick in California, Jimmy Birchfield in Providence, myself here in the Midwest. There's not a lot of us out there that do basically the farm system type work, and we try to develop some talent out of that.
Yeah. And you brought some pretty big names to the forefront through your promotion too, right?
Yeah, we've had our share, but what I've done is just kept my mission together, which is trying to make a local kid a world champion. I've gotten close a few times. Maybe this year we'll be there. I've got a nice heavyweight, Deontay Pettigrew, that we have high hopes for, and we'll see what happens with him. So, I don't know. But right now it's just back to the basics, and I try to keep my circle small. I circle the wagons, and outsiders aren't welcome in my world. If you're an outsider, you're not welcome. That's all. I don't
I'm the
do
same
business with
way.
everybody. I want to do business with a few good men. That's all, or women, whatever.
Yeah. I'm the same
Yeah.
way. I don't need to be
Yeah.
friends with everyone. I learned my
Nope.
lesson.
Nope. There was a guy in Philly, Russell Peltz, who's the Hall of Fame promoter and everything, and he was a guy who was really kind of a blueprint I tried to follow, where he just made really good crowd pleasing fights, and he had a great program at the Blue Horizon there in Philly for years and years and years, and he's a guy I have a lot of respect for. My former manager, Jackie Callan, is now getting inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Um, they made a movie about her. Meg Ryan portrayed her in the movie. So, like, I've been around some really high-level people in my business, Emmanuel Stewart, like everybody, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, George, like everybody. But it's like I try to look at the good parts of what people have done in this business and implement that into my repertoire, so to speak.
Yeah. And you polish up your show as you
Yeah.
go on, right?
Yeah, and what I also do is I don't let out, like, if you're part of my show, you don't go work anywhere else. Like, so I want my shows to be singular to me. So if you want to see my ring announcer, he's only at my show. If you want to see my DJ, he's only at my show. If you want to see my ring card girls, they're only at my show. Like I don't do business with whores. Like I just don't do that. If everybody could have you, I don't want you. I don't go to venues where other guys promote. I blaze my own trail and do my own thing. I don't do what everybody else does. And that seems what happens now in this business. Guys will want to come out in the business and they'll literally want to use my photographer, my TV network, everything that all my assets they want to try to use. So my thing is like, listen, there's a million hamburger joints. There's only one McDonald's. In Chicago boxing, anybody could try it, but there's only one Bobby Hitz. And I take a lot of pride in what I do. And I can boastfully say that we work hard. We give an honest day's pay for an honest day's work. And we try to leave the fan who paid his money wanting more and they getting their money's worth, getting a value. So that's pretty much our approach to it.
That's a really unique thing that you have these people working for you and you won't let them go off and
well, they can do what they want, but then they can never come back.
Yeah,
it's like having a girlfriend. Do you want the girl that goes out with 27 different guys, or you want the girl that wants to be with you? I want the one that wants to be with me. If everybody else can have you, I don't want you.
That's how I am in the podcast world. Like guests that go on all these shows, I don't want them. That doesn't make my show any unique than the next guy.
Right.
You know?
Right.
They call them podcast whores, by the way.
Yeah, whatever.
People
I don't know
scavenge.
what they are, but yeah, sure. Well, everybody's an instant superstar nowadays. You know what I mean? Yeah. Especially with the inception of gambling now. Gambling is taking on a whole different persona where guys I know did, 20, 30 years for gambling beefs. And now it's legal and everybody's on the internet talking about it. And it's just how life's evolved. Legalization of marijuana, all these things you never thought you'd see when you were a kid.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I think it's wild, some of the stuff I see nowadays.
Yeah. I like watching Joey and that Joey Perry. I like watching those guys.
What do you think of Joey Merlino's podcast?
I like it. Here, listen. He says it like it is. I like his style. I like him. He's a real guy. I like him. I just like his approach. Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, it's kind of messed
Joey
up.
Perry and his guy Joey Perry's real excited about it. So it's fun.
Yeah.
He's having fun and he's reinventing himself, which is important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I look forward to meeting him one day.
He stirred up the pot in the podcast world, and there's not a lot of stand-up guys out there. I have a lot of people on that didn't cooperate. I try to stay away from the cooperators. I expose people who act like gangsters who are not gangsters. They got people who cooperated, taking pictures with people, former mobster. This guy was not even Italian.
Right.
It makes no sense.
Right. It just takes all kinds. And, to me, you have to stay true to yourself. And as long as you know who you are, who gives a fuck what anybody else thinks? And I think that's Joey's approach. He knows who he is. He knows what he stands for. He has his bend but won't break, way about him, which is good. It serves him well. And then, I don't know. You can judge everybody, but it's, I don't know. To me, I just treat people how they treat me. So I think if Joey's mission is to stay away from those guys, which it seems like it is, God bless him. That's his prerogative to do so because that's what he believes in. And
they're angry. They're very angry that he won't go on their shows. He won't.
No, listen. Listen. A man who stands for nothing is a nothing. If you stand for something and there's something you believe in, that's what a man is. You have to stand for something. If you're able to blow with the wind, what do you stand for? Nothing. And so to me, I respect him for being that way. Because could it help his popularity? Could he go in there and sensationalize? Of course he could. But he'd rather stand on his convictions and be true to himself, which you can't fault the man for doing that. You can't.
I was having a conversation with someone today, and I told them I'm not willing to compromise my integrity for money or views or any of that shit. I'm just
No,
not.
I always say I will not compromise my integrity because someone else doesn't have it. My integrity is what's important to me. And at the end of the day, if you have nothing, if you lose everything, but you have your word and your integrity, you have something. That's what I believe. That's what I believe. So to me, I don't know. That's all I got. That's all I got.
Just gotta stand on business and keep it moving forward. Right.
Right. I was hoping to get. I was hoping that that Gravesend was going to do a Chicago series, Chicago versus New York series. I think it would be great for Gravesend, and maybe I could be in it then.
That
Did you
would
ever
be
see
awesome.
Gravesend?
Yeah.
Did you ever see that?
I haven't seen it. I've seen a lot of previews and things like that, but that's a great idea.
Yeah, I had talked to William about that. He says you got to do a season where Chicago, there's a little conflict, and I'll offer my services as an actor.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be on season 3, right? Or season 2.
I think it's coming up on. Yeah, I think they probably already did season 3. Yeah. So, yeah.
Who knows? Maybe I could get a part in it. Shout out to William, man. Let me know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he does a great job.
Yeah, there's a lot of iconic people in that.
Oh yeah, Armand Asante and William Forsythe's in there. My guy William's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dice Clay.
He's a great actor, William Forsythe. He's one of my favorite actors.
Great actor, yeah. He's a great friend, great actor. I learned so much about the craft from him. It was great being with him.
Yeah. I appreciate you, man. You have a wealth of information. You're welcome on here anytime.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining me tonight. And you're welcome back here anytime. If you guys like this content, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And if you don't like this podcast, then start your own. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you very much. Talk to you later.